What is a processor? A processor, also known as the Central Processing Unit or CPU, is a little chip that goes inside a computer, but it packs a big punch depending on which one you get. What does a processor do? A processor processes everything using calculations. To simplify it, it is pretty much a super fast calculator. If you go get a laptop today, that computer would do around 6 billion calculations per second. How does this work? Let me begin from the beginning. 1 hertz is equal to 1 calculation per second. 1000 hertz is equal to a kilohertz. 1000 kilohertz equals a megahertz. After that is a gigahertz. Common laptops nowadays have 3 GHz processors and 2 cores, which is pretty much another processor bundled with it. So this would pretty much mean that it would be a 6 GHz processor if it were put into one. So how I got 6 billion calculations per second is that I multiplied 1 hertz by 1000 to get a kilohertz. It's simple there. After that, you multiply 1000 hertz by another 1000 to get a megahertz. You then multiply that by 1000 again to get a gigahertz. Now we have 1 gigahertz, which is equal to 1 billion calculations per second. We then need 6 of those to get 6 gigahertz. Now who invented the processor? Well, for this part, I'm using Wikipedia for the information. I know that Wikipedia is not 100% a trusted site because anyone can edit it, so I might be incorrect somewhere. There were actually 3 creators of the processor, although not all of them worked together. Their names were Marcian Hoff, Masatoshi Shima, and Stanley Mazur. Now how does this apply in everyday life? Your phone probably has around a 1.7 GHz processor, so it can do plenty of tasks that you can put it up to. If you have a computer, then there is a processor in that, obviously. Your microwave has a processor in order to know how to lower the timer. The car that you rode in today probably has a radio. The radio has a processor in order to choose which station to allow and disallow. Why does a computer need so many gigahertz? A computer needs to do a lot of things. A great example is in gaming. Rocket League is known for its creativity, the concepts, and the stunning graphics and physics. If you do not know what Rocket League is, it is pretty much a game of soccer but with little cars that you can control with a bunch of boost. Now, how does a processor work in this? A processor in gaming needs has to calculate physics. It is told from the hard drive that an object has these properties to do it, like mass, size, gravity, and motion. The processor needs to put all of those into place to create one single picture. With help from your graphics card or the graphics chip, depending on your computer, one great picture is created. What is the graphics card, you ask? A graphics card pretty much places a look onto an object. Without it, you wouldn't see a thing. A single picture is called a frame. To make a live motion video, there has to be multiple pictures constantly changing. This is called frame rate, or frames per second. For smooth gameplay, common frame rates are 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second. There are higher ones, but we are going to stick with this for now. Now, for every frame, a new effect of physics is applied, and then sends those completed physics to the graphics card to apply a texture. This means that the processor has to do this 30 or 60 times per second if you put a limit on it. So overall, the processor is a big part of our modern day life. Having all of these luxuries like what you are watching this video on right now are requiring processors to do their part.